Warmly welcome everyone to this question and answer follow-up. Ruben here, and I see that we have Balakhilya with us as well. Good to see you, Balakhilya. Namaste.
Namaste, Ruben. Haribol. Thank you for asking me to join you today.
Thank you so much for setting off your time and joining us, and everyone who's joining on the internet as well. Yeah,
Yeah, thank everybody that's joining. We appreciate that very much.
yeah. So yeah, this will be a question and answer follow-up on the lecture last week that we had with about on the topic of suicide. So we have received a few questions from you that Balakhilya will answer, and yeah, let's leave the word to Balakhilya.
Okay, great. I like questions because that lets me know what you're thinking or what you want to know. So, yeah, we'll try to answer your questions. Before I begin my programs, as those who have joined before, I always offer my respects to my spiritual teachers, Sarasrupananda Paramahamsa and Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami. And any answers I give, any perspective I may present is based on the teaching of the Vedic scriptures. And we are practicing and living bhakti yoga. So that gives you some idea of where this is coming from. And in bhakti yoga, of course, meditation is one of the main activities. And we practice on a very regular basis mantra meditation. Mantras are transcendental sounds or spiritual sounds. See, we are very familiar with material sounds. They're surrounding us always. Into the material world and brings with it great spiritual power and potency. So when we come in contact with this transcendental sound, automatically we receive great spiritual benefit. So it's the easiest of all meditation, which is a great boon, but at the same time it's the most effective. So you get the best of both worlds. Very easy and very effective. So for this session, we're going to use the mantra Gauranga. And we will divide Gauranga into 4 syllables. Go, Ra, Ang, Ga. Now, our technique is also very easy. This is a deep breathing technique. So, we begin by inhaling through the nose slowly and gently, but also very deeply. Take the air all the way down to the lower abdomen, and then let the body fill from the bottom up. As we inhale, silently in the mind, we will chant Go, Ra, Ang, Ga in a very soft and gentle way in the mind. Now, gradually the body fills with air, and then we begin to exhale, and out loud we chant Go, Ra, Ang, Ga. And then we repeat. Inhale Gauranga in the mind, exhale Gauranga out loud. Before we begin the meditation, we want to relax. Now, there's key areas that accumulate a lot of tension. One is the face, also the neck, the shoulders, the chest, and an often overlooked part of the body, the mind. So we want to relax all those, especially the mind. To help us relax, we're going to take in a big breath through the nose and then let it back out through the nose. With your outgoing breath, let your anxiety, tension, frustration, fears go away with that breath. And while we do the meditation, we want to listen very closely to the sound and also put the mind on the sound. In other words, meditate on the sound. So, all of you at home, I want you to get comfortable. Whether you're sitting on the floor, in a chair, on a sofa, it doesn't matter as long as you're comfortable. And try to stay comfortable throughout the meditation. Once you've learned the mantra, Gauranga, I suggest you close your eyes because this helps us to relax even more deeply and prevents distraction. Also, when we finish the meditation, just sit quietly, eyes remaining closed, and feel the effect, the calm, the peace that you have achieved. Okay, just follow my guidance. Everybody take a big breath, let it out, and relax. Now very slowly, gently and deeply inhale and chant Gauranga in the mind. Two more times. Go Haribol. All right, so you can see this is very easy meditation to do, and at the same time, it's very relaxing. It's an excellent way to begin your day. Wake up in the morning, earlier the better, do the meditation. Before you go to bed at night, excellent way to make it so you'll sleep in a different realm. And of course, anytime during the day, you can do the meditation. So it's yours. Add it to your life. All right, so as I mentioned, this is all going to be based on the teaching of the Vedic scriptures, the most ancient scriptures of all scriptures, written down 5,000 years ago, but prior to being written down, passed down orally from one perfect master to the next. This is known as a disciplic succession, or parampara, which is necessary for the truth to descend in its pure form. And we are in the parampara known as the Brahma Sampradaya. And we feel very fortunate to receive our knowledge through this lineage. So it's obviously not my opinion. I'm just passing on this eternal science. All right, Ruben. So you got the questions. Let's go.
Yes, I do. Thank you. All right. So, the first question. What is this price, this severe consequence for destroying the body?
What is the
what
consequence of destroying the body, committing suicide? Yeah, I mentioned in the lecture it's a bad idea in every way, because the result of committing suicide is not only that you kill this body, that you leave so many people behind that are attached to you, that love you, and it causes them great pain and suffering, etc. But remember from the lecture, we're spirit souls. See, we're not our material bodies. The bodies are temporary, they're material. Yeah, we can destroy those very easily. But we are spirit. Spirit is eternal. You cannot destroy spirit. See, in Bhagavad Gita, which I always refer to as our main text we use in Bhakti Yoga, it's described, for the soul there's neither birth nor death. See, one cannot destroy the imperishable soul. See, so under the illusion we're the body, and we've got a lot of problems. We're depressed. We've got overwhelming odds against us. Whatever the case may be, we're not happy. See, we decide, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm over it. I'm out of here. And, of course, you can't just move from one city to another, or one country to another, because you take that whole story with you. Maybe you leave behind the debts, but you take it with you in your mind. And there's so many things, plaguing us. And then you got other problems wherever you go, too. So you decide, after all of this, I'm going to cease to exist, because that sounds like the only solution, or at least the best solution. So we do. We kill our bodies, but we're spirit soul. We don't kill ourselves. We're still us. We're still exactly the same person. We still have the same consciousness. We still have the same lack of happiness and the accompanying depressions, etc., etc. We're still covered by the second body. If you remember from the lecture, we have two bodies. The physical body, that's the one we can destroy very easily. But we've got that subtle mental body. You can't destroy that with a gun or poison or a hangman's noose or whatever you decide to use. Is it still covered by the mental body? This is the body of desire. This is where the anxieties are. This is where the loneliness is, the depression is. All the problems that we're trying to eliminate are right there. They're still there. See? So we didn't achieve anything. Now, also, I didn't go into a lot of detail in the lecture because of time limitation. But there's the law of karma, which we're all subject to. And the law of karma is basically very simple. We're responsible for our actions. For every action, there will be a reaction. So the reaction or the karmic reaction for destroying our bodies is very severe. See, the body is not ours. The body is loaned to us. It's a tool given by the Supreme Lord to use for achieving understanding of Him, self-realization, a way to actually engage in many different kinds of activities and service to the Lord, etc. This is His gift to us in the material world to use for self-realization and so on. And the Lord is in that body also. He's known as the Paramatma. That's why in all scriptures, often it refers to the body as being like a temple. See? So here we are, we have the temple, and we destroy it. See, you can't do that with no consequence. See, there's heavy consequence that comes with that. So one of the consequences is you will have to remain in what is known as the astral dimension. That's that subtle dimension, the dimension of the psyche, the mind, still covered in your mental body and still filled with all your desires, but you have no physical body in which to satisfy those desires. Like now in present life, you've got your two bodies, physical and mental. You have a thought, I want a pizza. Okay, you can go buy a pizza. You've got the facility to go there, walk there, drive a car, whatever. Go inside, take the money out of your pocket, pay for the pizza. You've got the hands to hold it. You've got a tongue to taste it. You've got teeth to chew it. You've got a digestive system to process it. You've got all the equipment you need to enjoy that pizza, to deal with that pizza, to satisfy that pizza desire. In a ghost body, you got no facility to fulfill your desire. You want a pizza? Good luck. You see? You can't have that desire fulfilled. And it's like that with all the desires. You want to communicate with someone you left behind. Could be a wife, a girlfriend, friends, parents, whatever. You're close to them, you're attached to them. You want to tell them whatever you would like to tell them. I love you. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Please forgive me. I see you're suffering. And on and on it goes. You can't do it. You got no mouth. They can't see you. You can't talk to them. They can't hear what you're thinking. Just like in this life, somebody may be thinking something right next to you. You can't hear it, can you? So it's a really, really frustrating, difficult, hellish existence. That's why when people do feel the presence of ghost, see, and it can be felt, your presence can be felt, just like if you're in a room, you think you're alone, and somebody walks in the room, you don't hear them, you don't see them, but you can feel them. See? This is the perception that we have. So, in the same way, people can feel you, some people, not everybody, some people, but, they're afraid of you because it's a scary situation. Oftentimes, people that are trapped in these ghost bodies are very angry. They're frustrated. You see, And so they want to cause trouble. When you're angry, you want to cause trouble. And there's haunted houses where people go and they can't live there. I've been in haunted houses. I've lived in haunted houses, you see, and it's real. You know, I grew up in a haunted house, and I had a few encounters with the other kind that, I don't know their history, but, maybe they died there. Maybe they committed suicide there. They were still in there for whatever reason. You see, they were stuck there. So all of these things are very, very negative results, very difficult results. And you're going to experience other karma as well from destroying that body. You see, it's not just I'm in control. I can do whatever I want. It's my body. If I want to destroy it, I will. It's up to me. Can't tell me what to do, kind of thing. See, it's not, none of that is true. None of that is true. So that's why we're saying it's so sad when somebody commits suicide for all the various reasons. But the main concern is they've just created more hell for themselves. Now, you're not going to have to experience that eternally. It's not an eternal damnation. No. When you work off that karma, so to speak, you have to be stuck in that ghost body for the amount of time that is destined for you to be in the body that you killed, or the other karma that makes so you have to stay there. When that's finished, when you're, done your term in the ghost dimension, then you can go further, take another gross physical body. But who knows what birth that's going to be? Is it going to be a human body? Is it going to be an animal body? A lower form than that? Who knows? I don't know. That's according to your karma, you see. So it's a very, very bad decision. You do it for relief from pain and suffering. You're not happy. You think, okay, I'm not happy. Why live? I'll cease to exist. You don't cease to exist. You're more unhappy than you've been before. You've created a lot of additional future suffering for yourself. And on the misery goes. That's why knowledge is so valuable. If you know these things, you might think twice before you do this. Of course, some people are so distraught, so overcome, that they do it anyway. They may even know this on an intellectual level, but they still do it. That's why we're saying always, you got to go to another level of life, a spiritual dimension of life, where you are happy from being who you are, you, the spirit soul, in your relationship with the Supreme Soul. You're engaged in a lifestyle of satisfaction. You're using the physical body and the mental body to hear these truths, to engage in the chanting, just like we did our Garanga breathing meditation. We've got a body to do that. You've got ears to hear my guidelines. You've got lungs to breathe. You've got a voice box to make the mantra Goranga verbal. You see, you've got ears to focus on the mantra. You've got a mind to put it all into action. You've got all the facility, you see. And that's using the two bodies that we have based on knowledge for the spirit soul's best welfare. That's what we're talking about. Then you're not going to commit suicide because you're depressed. You're not depressed. You're not going to commit suicide because you're so unhappy. You're not unhappy. Gradually, I now know more and more where real happiness is, where real satisfaction is. I know the purpose of the human form of life. See, you're experiencing things. You're moving in the direction that you're intended to move in, see, as a human being. And so that's the solution. Just knowing some facts, but living a lifestyle that still makes your life hell, it's going to be very difficult with a little bit of, true knowledge to overpower or overcome this huge force of depression, non happiness, the problems that accumulate on your head, and so on and so on. You see. So we need to have a complete reversal of consciousness, lifestyle. And then, you know, you can see suicide for what it really is and have the understanding and the power and the desire to not even get involved in that and try to help others not get involved in that. That's what I'm telling everybody that's listening right now. Do something so you don't come to that point. Because once you're at that point, it's very difficult to turn around. See, it's very difficult to turn around. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you must curb this lust and the accompanying anger and frustration and depression in the very beginning. Don't wait till it's come to a head and you've got, nothing to live for anymore and you're just completely finished. That's too late. Start now. See? So start the process of bhakti yoga, chanting the mantras, hearing this philosophy, embracing the philosophy, seeking out a true master, all these guidelines for success. Because suicide is a very, very final declaration of failure. Okay. All right. Ruben has a very good question. And not only Ruben, you didn't, whoever asked the question, thank you very much.
So the next question is a bit long. A friend of mine has been falling in and out of depressive episodes many times, ever since I met her about 50 years ago. Throughout her life, she had no opportunities to fulfill most of her desires, nor achieve what she wanted career-wise, to the point that she gave up on trying anything. In the end, she got married, and that gave her some security, but still after some time she ended up being more depressed than ever. I offered her these mantra meditation techniques, but she couldn't appreciate it, as if she didn't want any help, as if she wanted to fall deeper into depression and hopelessness. How to prevent such people to reach the point of attempting suicide?
Well, her scenario is very obvious, and it's not just her, it's repeated millions of times on the planet right now. I mean, just 7 billion people on the planet, and probably, 6 billion of them are, in one way or another, probably in a similar situation. See, unfortunately, it's become mainstream. And it goes back. Let's look at what you described. She never had an opportunity to fulfill her desires, her dreams, her ambitions, and so on. See? Okay, so let's say she did achieve them. She did fulfill all of her desires. She still wouldn't be happy. And many times people who have that quote success are even more depressed because they did what they thought would make them happy and it didn't make them happy. And now what? So she's kind of got an excuse. I'm like this because I wanted to do this and this and this and achieve this and experience this, and I didn't. I never could, and that's my excuse. See, but what about if she did that? What about the people who have done that? They're even in a worse situation because, it was the illusion that this is really going to do it for me, and it doesn't. Now, there's a little, semblance of this reality in her own story. She got married, okay? And it seemed to give her some stability for a short while. But then she was even more depressed because, it's obvious she was thinking, okay, if I get married, this will give me some security. I won't be lonely. I'll have somebody with me, and therefore I will get out of this depressive state. I'll feel, more satisfied and whatever. But it didn't. See, because it cannot. That's not the solution. And now she's even more depressed because that last straw that she grabbed onto before going underwater completely didn't work either. You see? So this is material life. This is what happens again and again and again. And, dying doesn't solve that problem either, whether it's suicide or natural death, because you just take another birth and you still got to deal with the same issue. There's no happiness for the soul in the material world. That's the bottom line. See? So whether you're successful or not successful, you're depressed, or even if you're not depressed, you're still not going to find true happiness and true satisfaction in the material world from a material source. Mm? Now, you say you introduced her to mantra meditation. She was not interested. She didn't appreciate it. This is also a very common scenario. People that get into these lower levels of mindset, so to speak, and it's all psychological, it's all mental. This is where the whole story, plays out. It's so easy to get into this self-pity consciousness and almost enjoy the self-pity. It's a perverted way to enjoy. They enjoy feeling sorry for themselves, feeling, it wasn't really my fault, feeling, oh, I had a bad go. Nobody understood me. Self-pity, self-pity, self-pity. You see, and that becomes a kind of perverted taste of happiness. It's strange, but that's how it works. So when somebody comes along and offers a real solution, they don't even in one way want to take it. They say they do, but on another hand, they don't. Then, I can't get people to feel sorry for me. I can't draw attention to myself. See, these people who are in these conditions of self-pity and always threatening, I'm going to commit suicide if you don't do this, I'm going to kill myself, or they make attempts, and it draws attention to them. That's how they get attention, and there's some merit for them there. They've achieved something. People are paying attention to me. They're saying, oh, don't do it. Oh, feel better. Oh, let's go here. Let's go there. Oh, don't lock yourself in your room. Please come out, And that's what they're craving, Again, it's a perverted story, but that's how it really is, you see. So when you come along and say, chant these mantras, and it'll take you out of this hole that you're in, this dark place, they really don't want it. See, that's why when the Supreme Lord and his representatives, the great masters and devotees of the Lord, the true teachers that know the solution, come to the material world to help us, many people don't want to hear what they say because they like it here. This is where I want to be. Don't bother me. See? Oh, but you can enjoy life like you can't even imagine. I don't believe you. I don't want to know about it. Leave me alone, etc., etc., etc. There's a saying, and we've all heard it, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. See? So you can offer people every opportunity to actually solve the problems of life in a real way. But rarely is it somebody wants to actually sincerely take it up. Thank you so much, and change their life. They really don't. How can we help them? If we have the opportunity to associate with them a lot and in a very gentle, mild way, promote this truth, you see, in a way that they can, uh, let's say, not be rejected by it, but kind of be favorable toward it. You see, if they can hear the chanting of the mantras, this is pure, transcendental, purifying sound. See, this will help. Will it completely change everything? Who knows? I don't know. I've seen some people, yes. I've seen other people, no. You know, I have a friend, and he had all kinds of, success in life, money, and fame in his little world of fame, and all the toys that he wanted to buy, and whatever. He achieved a lot of goals that he set for himself, you see, but he wasn't happy either. you know he heard about the mantras, started chanting the mantras, and it helped him so much. It changed his life. It did it for him. See, he realized all these things. He wasn't trying, contemplating suicide, but he knew what he was doing wasn't enough. And so he found something that really satisfied him, the spirit soul. Very appreciative of that. See, his daughter actually, I think she's 20, 21, 22, just out of teenage years, has the other problem: depression, anxiety, self harm, scars on her legs where she's cut herself, and, just in these dark places all too often. And he brought her, to one of our retreats, and he was saying, I know how much this helped me. Hoping it'll help her. But she wasn't that interested. You see, she was one of those people that she didn't really catch it, at least, you know, as far as I know till now. I don't know exactly the last, details, but so, what can you do? Some people it takes them to the whole nother way of life, and some people it doesn't touch them. They just don't even want to go there, or they don't want to try, whatever, you see. We as individuals are responsible for our own lives. You see, we have to make decisions, and if we make the decisions to change it completely, we can. If we make the decisions to not be bothered with all this philosophy,
So we are waiting for Balakhilya's internet to come back. Give us a minute here. Animal, you're muted now, Balakhilya.
tube.
Now you are not muted.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
you were mentioning about making the decision to
yeah.
hear.
Yeah, like I said, our internet just dropped out. Sorry about that. But anyway, the individuals have to make the decision. All we can do is offer them all the things. So you offer some food to the Supreme Lord, you give that food to them. You don't even have to tell them about it, but it's now spiritually powerful and potent, and they, will get benefited from that. And at some point, they may just, become purified enough to make the other decision. Mhm. It's just so, individual. But any spiritual benefit that they receive from this food prasadam that they're offered, hearing the mantras, listening to the teachings. And so that's actually beneficial whether you see them appreciate it or not. They are getting spiritually benefited, spiritually purified. And that will be with them now, in their next life. It will have a big impact on their next life, etc., etc. So never think, that you couldn't help them, because you have already helped them. Okay. So we wish your friend all the best.
Thank you very much. Next question. What you said about souls of suicide victims, this was referring to previous lecture, really broke my heart, and it was so painful to hear. How can I deal with this pain, and how can I help someone who has committed suicide?
How can you help someone who has already committed suicide? The Lord is in your heart. The Lord is in their heart. And therefore, He knows both you and He knows them simultaneously. He knows your desires for them. He knows that you want to help them, the spirit soul. And therefore, He is the well-wisher of everyone. So if you chant the mantras with their well-being in mind, you want them to benefit from the mantras. You want them to be relieved of this great sin that they've committed. The Lord knows all those things. He knows your care for them, your love for them, and so on. See? And so this will have a big beneficial impact or result on them in their, terrible situation they've created for themselves. So the more you are convinced of the power and the potency of the mantras and the reality of the Supreme Lord and His presence in the holy names and your, relationship with Him, the more potency your desires and wishes are going to have, and the more beneficial they're going to be. See? So, yeah, that's what you can do. You just become an ever increasing, devoted person to the Supreme Lord, and you're going to have great impact on this person that committed suicide and other people also, not just them. You see, the true devotee of the Lord is wishing the best for everybody, all living entities. He knows everybody in the material world is suffering, and he feels compassion for all living entities in the material world. And therefore, he's always wishing for their betterment, their well-being, you see. And that's why those great devotees of the Lord in this world are helping everybody by their presence alone. You see? Yeah. So you pray to the Lord, please help my friend, my wife, my whoever it is. You see, you can do that. Okay.
Um, I've had many painful experiences before in my life, and also with suicide. My natural reaction is to just repress all these feelings, and I very rarely feel anything at all. I just feel numb. I'm only able to release some of these feelings inside while crying after repressed emotions build up too much pressure.
Wow, what?
Uh, I'm only able to release some of these feelings inside while crying after the repressed emotions builds up too much pressure. How can one actually how can one actually cope with the loss of a loved one and all these repressed emotions?
How can the last part? How can one what?
How can one actually deal with a loss of a loved one and all these repressed emotions?
Uh-huh. What is the reality is, in this world we become so attached to other people. See, I mean, it's the nature of the soul to be attached. But the idea is, the perfection is to be attached to the Supreme Lord. That's the perfection of attachment. In the material world, we don't have that attachment. Many times we don't even believe there is a Supreme Lord. If so, really almost he has nothing to do with me. All kinds of, you know, rejective ideas like this. See? So therefore we become attached to people in this world. See? And these attachments are the cause of our suffering. You can read any scripture. The Vedas are very, very detailed in these truths. You see? That it's the attachments to the material world that create the sufferings on the deepest level. You see, we're attached and we want that attachment to bring us happiness and pleasure, which it doesn't, not really for the soul. The attachments are temporary. Death of a loved one, it happens to everybody. Everybody's going to experience death of a loved one. See, mothers die, fathers die, grandmothers die, grandfathers die. Children die, we die. Everybody dies. And therefore we're separated from each other. So if you're stuck together with this attachment and you're ripped apart because of death, that's going to be great pain, great suffering, you know. So every master, every teacher who knows how to keep us from suffering tells us these attachments are guaranteed going to cause you pain. But the only way you cannot be attached to this world, and the strongest attachments are personal attachments, is to be attached to the Supreme Lord. You're going to be attached. Anybody that says they're not attached, I'm not attached to anything, they're not attached to the Lord, they're not attached to this world, they're not attached to anything, they're attached to their non-attachment. They're still attached. You see? You can't be non-attached because that's the truth. That's the nature of the soul. So the whole concept of bhakti yoga is purify every original nature of the soul. Attachment, purify that attachment, become attachment to the Lord, and become attached to the representatives of the Lord. See, those pure spiritual personalities and the supreme spiritual personality, you see. And that relationship is eternal. It's not temporary. It doesn't end at death. We're not separated at the time of death. It's eternal. Death does not touch it. You see, and this is the real source of happiness. We know attachments are natural and we want to get closer and closer and we get sucked into more and more attachment, you see. But again, these material attachments just rip us apart, you see. And suppressing your emotions is not the solution. That's just, like some stopgap treatment that doesn't work. We're filled with emotion. The soul is an emotional entity, you see. So just trying to be cold and hard and don't think about it and, forget about it or whatever. That's not the solution, So the solution is become attached to the spiritual realm, the spiritual world, the supreme Lord, service to the Lord, the holy names, that's the Lord himself. Become attached to the holy names, attached to chanting, attached to the spiritual master. These attachments are perfect, you see, and they protect us from all these temporary, shallow, destructive attachments, you see. Now, the next question already I know is in somebody's mind. Oh, but does that mean we shouldn't love our mother, our father, our brothers and sisters and friends and wives and whatever? You know, it sounds like a real callous, hard philosophy that I just love God and the hell with everybody else. You know, like, no. Look at the lives of those who are truly emulating this truth of attachment. See, this dear Lord Jesus Christ in the West, people know more about his life than, say, Haridas Thakur or, the six Goswamis or all those other, perfect examples of pure love for God. But Lord Jesus Christ wasn't attached to anybody in this world, including his parents. He said that, directly to his parents at the age of 12. you know. But did he love them? Yes. Did he love everybody? Yes. You can love everybody and be attached to nobody in this world. See? That's real love. Love is not based on what we know as love. You see? He's attached to the Lord. That attachment accompanies love. Love accompanies it's all part of the perfect relationship. You see? And that love spills out to everybody. You see? So it's not a callous philosophy, just hard-hearted philosophy. It's the most soft, compassionate, merciful, caring of all philosophies. You see? So you achieve all the goals that you're trying to achieve, but in reality, see, you're not suppressing sentiments, but you're directing sentiments properly. You're living your life filled with knowledge and intelligence. You're guided by the Lord and his representative in Scripture. You know what to do and how to do it. And when you find yourself in these other positions, you see it as it is. You see it very clearly. You're not in some illusion that, this is good or this is, my life or whatever. You see it clearly, and therefore it's not the same. So this is why this philosophy, this teaching, and the practice of this teaching and the chanting of the mantras is irreplaceable. You cannot replace it with something else. Irreplaceable. But that's what we've done for lifetimes. Replaced it with everything else. And therefore suffer accordingly. See? That's what everybody's doing now. Replacing this truth that I've just described with everything else. And creating more and more things to replace it with. See? There's ever increasing options now. Replace it with this. You see? And deride this truth as being, something to stay away from, something bad, something that controls you. Oh, this is no, don't do that. This is insanity, but this is reality. And look at the result. You can see it. Okay. What time is it? Oh, we're getting on. Maybe we got a few more minutes, and then we want to have a little meditation at the end.
Yeah, Balakhilya, it seems in the West that we have, especially perhaps in the Scandinavian countries, we are so far away from accepting the notion of a God, of the existence of God. how do, on a practical level, move from being there to increasing our attachment for him and being able to decrease our attachment to all the people that we have around us in practice.
Yeah. Well, again, it's back to individuals. A person has to, at some point, accept this is not working. This is not making society better. This is not making me better. You see, I'm not becoming more happy because of this. It's going in the opposite direction. Somehow, something has to turn us around from looking at the world and all the things and the philosophies of the materialist and the onslaught of the media and the promises of happening. We have to stop looking at that and start looking at something that might give a different result. Something has to turn me around. What that is again it might be an extreme accident, it might be extreme sickness, a near-death experience, an out-of-body experience, a good friend who turns his life around, and you see his life is becoming very different and very much more attractive than what you're experiencing. It might be you get involved with a person, on an intimate level that's, going in the other direction, and just by their association, they kind of encourage you to go in the direction they're going. Whatever it is, it has to be something. It be great calamity that wakes us up, so to speak. Whatever, something has to make it click. You know, just living a cleaner lifestyle sometimes can put us more under the influence of the mode of goodness. You see, rather than being under the influence of ignorance and passion, and doing dark things and passionate about enjoying my senses more and more and more, and all these things. Somehow, maybe I'm, again, who knows what's going to do that, but somehow get more under the influence of the mode of goodness. Could be for health reasons. I changed my diet, start eating more mode of goodness food. You see, because this other passion and ignorance food is killing me. And I'm told by a doctor maybe, or I just realized if I don't do something different, I'm going to die. So, you start eating a different diet. You give up the meat. That's complete mode of ignorance food. You see, maybe it's like I say, health reasons, environmental reasons, whatever reasons. But that has a purifying effect. That changes something not only physically but mentally, puts you under the influence of the mode of goodness more. See, that's a psychic influence that changes things on the mental psychic level. And so that can start you looking, and then, things about spiritual life and God and so on becomes, a little more palatable. You can swallow it a little easier, you know. Or maybe it's somebody that's a great, personality in society, a great entertainer or athlete or whatever it is that you kind of, look up to, because everybody likes people that are great, whatever dimension it is. They're great athlete, they're a great movie star, they're a great singer, a great entertainer, whatever, see? And maybe they change their life. They become a vegetarian, or they start promoting spiritual ideas, or all of that, you see? And somehow you think, wow, well, they're pretty cool people, and maybe I should look like in that direction too, you know? They gave up drugs. Maybe I should give up drugs too. I've known people that have given up drugs because some great musician who they really like their music, and this guy was really cool, and so on, and he just comes up and said, I give up drugs. It's just a destructive lifestyle, and it's just taken me into hell too many times, and I'm not going to do that anymore. And you go, wow, well, life is good enough for him, is good enough for me, kind of thing. All kinds of reasons that kind of changes, boost us, helps us, and then, the Lord in our heart, He knows exactly when these changes occur, and He starts getting involved too, and helps us from within. And one of the main things in spiritual growth is association. You know, but with the society today and God being so lambasted and blasphemed and so on like that, man, it's really really sad. It's really really sad. Um, but again, when an individual's ready to change, he will change in the middle of the most seemingly impossible set of circumstances. He can change. Surrounded by complete demons. I know I got many stories, but I know a guy years ago in the later part of the 1960s. This is a true story, and I'm not going to give any details, but many details. But anyway, he was the leader of a mafia in an area where he was. There was a mafia in that area, and he was the leader. And I knew him, and I knew, what he did. And they were involved in all kinds of crimes, from credit card scams to robberies to, gambling stuff to even murder and whatever. I mean, bad guy. And he was the leader, see? So he went to a city to do a robbery. And while he was there, he took a very powerful drug, and this drug put him through a long journey in the psychic realm, where he died and all kinds of things happened. And when he came out of that, he said, man, at the lowest point of that experience, when he had been basically eliminated, he was gone, he was dead, so to speak. He made it a call out to God. God, if you help me get out of this situation, I will serve you. I will turn to you. I will give up this sinful life. And when he got back to, normal state out of this influence of the drug, he kept his word. And he was such a serious person that he went back and told his mafia boss, because there's always somebody above somebody. He said, I'm quitting. You don't quit the mafia. It's easy to get in, but it's not easy to get out. He said, I'm quitting. He said, I'm going to give my life to God. I'm not going to do this anymore. And his mafia boss, he knew him, and he knew he was a serious guy. He wasn't playing games. He said, good luck. You're free to go. Do whatever you can. I wish you the best. And he did. And he completely gave it all up, changed his association, changed everything, and entered into spiritual journey. See? So, it can be all kind of extreme scenarios, or it can be just, whatever, some simple thing that turns us around. But at some point, something has to turn us around. God is always there. He doesn't go anywhere. They say God is dead. God doesn't die. There is no God. He's always there. See, you can't wish him away. You can't declare him away. You can't kill him away. He's always there. See? And so when you're ready to be with him, or just at least go in that direction, he's right there waiting. He's always waiting. For you, for me, for everybody. We're all his children. He loves us all equally, and he's always waiting. So that's what we're trying to do, is just give people the opportunity. Let them hear these things, because where else are you going to hear it? You hear everything else. You hear the opposite side always. You need to hear this, and not some fanatical thing, join this group and you'll be saved. No, this is just individual reality between you and the Supreme Lord. The Bhakti Yoga process is a process. You apply it to your life. We have a spiritual master. He guides us in the application. He reveals unknown truths, to us. when we're ready to hear them. And that's all. It's just very, very wonderful. Mm. All right, Ruben, I think our time is up.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
let's end with a sankirtan, because philosophy is philosophy, but we must do the meditation to actually purify, bring it all into perspective, increase our interest, and our understanding. So this is a different technique. It's called sankirtan, congregational chanting. Two or more people come together and chant the mantras. And usually it's with the accompaniment of a musical instrument, but it doesn't have to be. And tonight, as you can see, we'll be using a guitar. And the mantra is going to be what you've already learned and practiced, Goranga. This time we don't divide it into 4 syllables necessarily. Mantra will be Goranga, and we're adding one more mantra, Hari Bol. So Shravanam is the technique. I chant, you listen. You chant, I listen. I got a couple friends with me now, so I'm going to chant, they listen, and then when they chant, you chant with them. Ruben will be chanting, Christian there will be chanting, and we'll have a nice time. All right, so just relax and meditate on the sound. Goranga. Everybody.
Goranga.
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 Goranga. It's frozen.
Goranga.
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 Haribo, 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 Goranga, everybody.
Haribo, 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 Goranga.
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 Haribo, Haribo,
Haribo, Haribo,
Goranga.
Goranga.
Haribo, Haribo,
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 Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo.
Haribo, Goranga, Goranga,
Haribo, Goranga, Goranga Haribo.
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 Haribo,
Haribo,
Goranga Haribo.
Goranga Haribo.
Haribo,
Haribo,
Goranga Haribo.
Goranga Haribo.
Goranga, Goranga, Goranga Haribo. Hey.
Goranga, Goranga, Goranga Haribo.
Goranga, Goranga, Goranga Haribo.
Goranga, Goranga, Goranga Haribo.
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 Haribo. All right, so that's Sankirtan. That's congregational chanting of the holy names. 2 or more people. So, you want to have a good gathering with your friends? You want to have a good time together? Come together and chant the mantras. See, now it's got some meaning. You know, now it's got some real purpose and it's got some real benefit. The result will be very, very beneficial. See? So you can take the body you've got, don't kill it, use it in God's service. Use your mind, this subtle mental body. Use your mind, use your intelligence in the way they're intended to be used. And you'll be perfect. You can come to perfection by doing just that. Let the Bhakti Yoga philosophy and the Bhakti Yoga practices guide you to true happiness and true satisfaction. So, yeah, we've got to go. We've got another program. But, Ruben, thank you so much for coming. And the questions from everybody, thank you very much. All of you who joined, thank you very much. We should be grateful for everything. That's the next part of understanding life. Be grateful. You know, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Balakhilya. Next week we invite you to Balakhilya. We hope to invite you and all of you watching for another webinar on the topic of spiritual life, many paths. What is the goal?
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, please join us. So, Christian, I know you're behind the scenes there. Thank you.
Thank you, Balakhilya. He says thank you.
And I thank Slava. He's the behind-the-scene man here. And our Chintamani choir, a couple of them came. And so, yeah, you know, if we all just come together and engage in spiritual practices and spiritual life, we can really have a good life. This is good life, good relationships, good everything. All right. Next week, namaste. All the best to everyone. Haribol.
Namaste.